All right, welcome to the Spake Up podcast. I'm so excited about today's guest, and let me set the stage. And I will tell you that Annie is listening in right now. So I'll set the stage. Many of you guys know that I competed in triathlons for a very long time. I did 770.3s, ran 4 marathons. So like the endurance community was very, very important to me. Was with the Ironman Foundation for a really long time, raised about, I don't know, $45,000 for the Ironman Foundation. So it was something that meant a lot to me for many, many years. And one of the reasons I told people for so many years that I loved doing these longer endurance events is because of the people that I met along the way. Seriously, I would be out there and you'd be next to a 70-year-old man, or you'd be next to somebody who just got done with cancer, battling cancer, men, women, young kids, all different ages. To me, I thought that was so beautiful to be able to share the course, to hear their stories because they inspired me. Like I would go into an event and I'd be like, my calves are hurting. And you would see somebody who was dealing with so much more than I had to deal with. And it really inspired me. I felt very, very lucky to share the course with so many of those people. One, or I guess two of the people that I was able to meet along the way, Brent and Kyle Peace. I got to meet them in November of 2018. So Kyle has spastic cerebral palsy. I know I'm going to mess that up. Spastic cerebral palsy. Again, I probably messed it up. But that is what he has. And so Brent would push him, would swim with him, would run with him. And I thought that it was just so selfless to see this brother and what he would do for his brother, get up and train, do all these things. And I loved those two. I got to know them pretty well. So in 2019, I was doing my fifth 70.3 in Traverse City. And in the morning, I was walking around transition one, which is where you come out of the water, you get onto your bike. And as I'm walking around, I see what looked like a father and a son, and the son was in a wheelchair. And turns out he had cerebral palsy. Similar, I don't know the exact kind of medical diagnosis, but it was very similar to what Kyle and Brent had to go through. So we go on our way. I don't believe I saw them on the course, but later that day I was sitting in the airport and I saw a Twitter come through, and it was an article about this father and son. And I thought it was so cool. So I found them on Twitter and I sent them a message. Remember, this is 2019. So I send them a message. Hey, it was awesome to share the course with you guys today. Awesome to get to know you. So inspiring. And they replied to me. And it was really cool to kind of just let them know that they inspire me, and in so many ways. Well, fast forward to 2020. During COVID, this young woman, reporter, she starts posting these social media clips, these videos that are hilarious, so funny. Her name is Johnny Agar. And I didn't make the connection between the father and the son, Johnny and Jeff Agar, who I had met in 2019 in Traverse City, until I did a Google search and I saw that they were related. So I reached out to Annie at that time and I just told her, hey, I got to meet your dad and your brother, and I think you're killing it. You're hilarious. Anything you need. And Annie and I have kind of kept in touch since then. Well, fast forward today, she is affecting, and millions of people have seen her videos, have heard her name. And if you're a sports fan, you've absolutely laughed at them and probably said, how the heck does she get away with saying some of that stuff? Because they're hilarious, they're true, they're awesome. And she has her own podcast. Less than 6 years ago, she was working in smaller markets, always loved sports, always wanted to work for ESPN, maybe manifested it in a way, but she's self-made, she's worked hard, and she has found a way to separate herself from the rest, and she's absolutely killing it. So let's say hi to Annie. I know, Annie, I wanted you to hear that build up, so you kind of had a little bit of context to how much your brother and your dad mean to me, truly. And I know I don't know them that well, but I just think that they're really, truly the most beautiful people. And so I wanted you to be able to hear that. So thank you for joining us.
Of course. What an intro. I was getting like teary-eyed as you're talking about it. They are so, and they love you, obviously, Shannon,
Yeah.
but Johnny remembers that vividly because obviously any kind of sports personality that reaches out, that's such a big thing for him. And he loves the fact that people see him as an athlete now because of all this training and racing. And so I think for you to acknowledge him like that was just the coolest thing. So, and I didn't realize it happened before 2020,
Yeah.
before I even did videos. That's so funny.
Yeah. It
What
did.
is
I'm wearing my Dolphin shirt, by the way, because while you're a pained Green Bay Packer fan, I'm a
yeah,
pained Miami Dolphins fan.
yeah,
So
that's
I
rough.
wore this for you.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I think getting to know Brent and Kyle really went really far for me to understand sort of that selflessness that
Yeah,
your dad gives and does, and just how beautiful and how much it means to Kyle as well to be out on that course. And he truly is an athlete.
right.
It is a connection that I mean, I am so much better of a person having seen that connection.
Yeah, and I think that's why, there's groups, and I'm sure you've heard of them. Johnny had gotten started with My Team Triumph, who is an organization that was, I think, started in Grand Rapids in our hometown here, where they push and pull kids with disabilities and adults with disabilities through these races. And they specifically do it because you're not only racing for yourself anymore. If you're thinking of doing a marathon or thinking of doing any kind of triathlon, and you're needing that little extra push, what better push than to do it for literally someone else that you may not even know other than
That's
yourself.
awesome.
It's such an accomplishment to do it yourself. But like you said, to see other people out on the course, knowing that they're doing all this training just to get that kid or that adult through the race, is so cool. And to see their faces when they finish, I mean, it's incredible. These kids already teach me more than I will ever learn from anything else, because they're so positive and so motivating. They have every right to complain about everything. They can't even get through their day. Johnny needs help getting up in the morning, brushing his teeth, eating breakfast, but he never complains a day in his life.
Mm.
And you see that on these kids' faces when they cross the finish line, and it is just my favorite thing ever.
That's awesome. I am going to get into your family a little bit later, but I want to talk about you first.
Okay.
Your videos. We're going to watch the first one, and I told you that we were going to watch it together. The reason is because I do have a lot of NASCAR fans who watch this that maybe don't connect with the NFL
Yep.
or college sports. So let's watch it.
Okay, let's start. Is everybody there? Can everybody hear me okay? Wait, Michigan is in charge of this? Didn't you guys have like 2 conference wins last year? We had 6, okay? You know this. Ohio, we've been over this. You don't have to announce every time you're here. Oh, can y'all hear me? I don't really know how to get this working. Yep, you just press the button. Northwestern, can you help, please? No. Okay, well, you know what? That's not helpful. Wait, are those glasses even real? Can you even read? And the number 1 recruiting class in the Big Ten, and we pretty much produced Joe Burrow. Hello. Hi guys. Oh my gosh, no, get out. Wait, who was that?
That's so wild. That seems so long ago.
Do you go back and watch it ever? Like just when you're kind of just go back and see?
It's pinned on my Twitter, so I do see
Yeah.
it when I scroll down. But even that, I mean, you can see if anybody's watched the videos now, they've come a long way from that. But back then, those were first days of TikTok, and I didn't even know what I was doing. Didn't have a script or anything. I just got on and did a video. It was wild.
What made you do it? Obviously, we were all locked down and we were all doing Zooms, and so what made you say, "Hey, this is a really good idea"?
Yeah, well, you mentioned a second ago, I was working in local news at the time. So when
We have
COVID
some
hit,
pictures of that too, my
oh my
love.
God, do you really?
Yeah, I
Those
think
are the
so.
days, guys. I tell everybody, if I talk to any college kids that are up and coming, I'm like, local news is a grind. It will teach you anything and everything you need to know, but it is a grind. I was working 20, 22-hour days covering Michigan State. We turn packs for high school football games, and you cover 3 games in a night and then oh, yep, there I
There you
am.
are.
That's amazing. Yeah, so I was working in local news, and then when COVID hit, we weren't covering any sports because there was nothing to cover.
You know what though? Listen, I went back and watched a lot of these, and I will tell you one thing: your confidence. It's in
Really?
like when I go back and watch stuff from me, Annie, like I'm like so nervous, and like you just like
Oh,
your
good.
confidence from day
Oh, I'm
one.
so glad. That was on my reel for the longest time, and yeah, it's just so different because you're doing these quick, ins and outs, and then you're trying to recap a game, and very different than what I do now. But I give you guys so much credit because you like nail the facts, but do it not in like a forceful way, but bring the information. And it was wild. That was a lot of learning done during that time.
But wait a minute. So, but you say I have to get it right and I have to know this. But so do you, honey. Like you
Yeah,
are doing comedy as a woman and
thank you.
sports.
Thank you. I've learned too that kind of and women in sports say this a lot too. They're constantly feeling this pressure to get things right and everything. But at
Yes.
the end of the day, I'm like as you are with your Miami shirt. We're NFL fans. We're football fans, and I found it's a great way to kind of put that barrier down that some people might feel like, oh, you're trying to mansplain sports to me, or you're trying to tell me what I need to know. I'm just a sports fan in a comedic way, telling you things that I would relate to as the fan watching the same games you are. So it kind of puts that wall down for people, and they don't see it more as me reporting on it. It's just me like, roasting their team, which could be actually worse. I don't know.
So you don't feel in pressure
Oh yeah,
to
100%.
to get it right? Do you
Yes.
run your
Oh yeah,
lines
for
by
sure.
everybody?
Yeah,
Like,
and
how
that's
do you
not to say I don't take. Yeah, I spend 7, 8 hours researching, because I could say a joke that I think is funny, but I want to
Mhm,
say it from each team's perspective in those meetings that I do.
mhm.
So it is a ton of, I dump a ton of hours of research into it to make sure I hit all the right points that fans are feeling from the game, or whatever trade just happened, and make sure I get their emotion involved. It's very extensive for sure.
How mad do you get when you miss something? Like, because I know when I go into a game, if something happens and I didn't have that story, I didn't have that report, I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah."
Yeah, it's I think that's what I give myself a little grace, because I'll put the video out a day after all the games happen, because I include the Monday night game. So hopefully I include it all. If I do put it out there and I'm like, oh, I forgot this one part, then I beat myself up for a little bit, because then I don't want the fans to feel like I'm not including them, or I didn't think about this play that happened.
Mhm.
But it's just such a human industry that we're in, and social media is all, and a lot of the time I'm cutting out jokes because there's too many things that happen. So I try to give myself a little grace, but I'm sure like we're very self-critical, and we're probably our biggest critics. So
You have to be. Like,
yeah.
that's how you get to the next level, is by
Mhm.
never being content with something that you
Right,
do.
right.
Did you realize when you posted that first one, like, what was how long did it take for the reaction to come?
Yeah, so I posted that on TikTok, and I didn't really know at the time how TikTok worked, and things blow up all the time, as we've seen, the Coldplay case situation in particular. But it was somebody else had put it on Twitter, and I had started getting some people were mentioning me in comments, and so I retweeted it, and I embedded the video and shared it, and overnight it got 3 million views, and it was
Holy
blowing
cow.
up. Desmond Howard quote tweeted it, Kirk Herbstreit quote tweeted it, ESPN contacted me and wanted to put it out. And that's when I really realized this is, because I'd never had a video go viral or anything like that. And I thought, okay, this is what people want right now. They want this comedy, a little bit lighter, because it was during COVID. We were all kind of down, and
Yep.
nobody was talking about sports because there was nothing on. So I think it was just the right timing of everything. And yeah, overnight like that, the 3 million views, that's when I realized this could really be something.
Did you at that point, did you say, "I'm gonna do this every week"? Like, "I gotta do this every
No,
week."
I hadn't yet. No, because people were asking what videos I was going to do next, and I decided to do the other conferences, because as you saw in the video, I did the Big Ten, so I did SEC, ACC, Pac-12, all that, and then I had the idea because my brother and I were talking, actually, and we are diehard. He's a diehard Detroit fan. I'm a Green Bay fan, as you mentioned. So we NFL is my wheelhouse. That's what I mean. I love college ball, but it's a lot different because the guys are in and out so often, um, and so I thought, the NFL, there's so much drama. It would be so funny to recap what happens every week, because that's already what we're doing in my own household. So why not do a
Mhm.
video of it? So week one of that NFL season is when I did the first NFL video, and then that took off as a series, and then I just kept doing that.
Now, I know you're a sports fan, but, like, when you did the SEC or when you did some of the other conferences, obviously you're from, the Midwest, so
Right.
that Big Ten is sort of where you kind of live. Like, were
Yeah.
you aware of the other conferences? Did you have to do, like, a ton of research, reach out to people, kinda get feedback and pointers?
Yeah, great question. I did, and I was very lucky that I had met a bunch of people through the first video. So I
Mhm.
had reached out to guys that I knew that worked at SEC Network, and the people that had reached out to me coming off that Big Ten video, and they'd said, "Hey, I was born and raised in ACC territory. Like, if you need the insight on," because we all know kind of the
Yep.
general stereotypes that are in each conference, but to really dive into what each category of team would be like in a Zoom meeting, I really needed insider information. So I reached out to the couple people that would contact me after the Big Ten video, and that's kind of how I went along that way. But and then I was like, do I do a Southern accent? Because I don't have a good Southern accent. So yeah, it was very fun. But the NFL ones are really obviously what took off.
Yeah, and there are some people that are sort of like, I mean, I feel like there's copycats now, right? I mean, and that's the best form of
Right,
flattery.
right.
But what do you think when you see some of those? I mean, are you like, "Go, do it," or are you like, "Man"?
Yeah, it's a tough thing because I'm so encouraging of other people to do content,
Yeah.
and I love when other people do content, and I'm very secure in the content that I put out. So I'm hopeful that people trust the brand that I built and that they know the videos are going to come every year. So I love that other people do the content, and the people in the football community that I've met that kind of do the same videos,
Hmm.
they've reached out to me and been super respectful about it and say, hey, like, I'm gonna do it this way.
Oh,
Like,
that's
don't think
cool.
I'm taking your content. Yeah, it's been so great. So I don't know if it's just the TikTok community in general is like that or just sports because NFL fans are the best. No bias there. But yeah, they've been great, and I don't feel any competition with it. As long as my videos keep doing well, then and it kind of pushes me to continue doing the better jokes and have better timing and hone in on my skill too. So competition's a great thing, and hopefully it keeps me going.
Yeah. What percentage of the feedback that you get is positive, and what percentage of I mean, listen, social media is not a good place,
It's
a large portion of the time. You're funny, right? But like you also you also expose things and say
yes,
things that people don't like. People don't like that, right?
yeah,
They like you don't want to go back and watch that film because you know you messed up
yep,
and you don't want to see it in the Monday morning meetings. And here's
right.
this this woman who's making a joke of it and everyone's laughing about it, right? Like so what and even fans too, right? Oh, you're a hater, like, blah blah blah. So
Yep.
what percentage is positive and what percentage is sort of the tougher stuff to handle?
That's a good question. Percentage wise, I'm going to say probably, I mean, there's so many positive comments. And then the nice thing is now with, you build a following, those are your people. So they'll defend you till the
Yeah.
day you're off social media. And they do. And if there are any negative, I would say it's probably 70-30 because there are
Oh,
some
wow.
negative. And if
Yeah.
there are any negative comments, my followers will jump back in and defend me. And this goes back to what you say too. You don't want to be what we talked about a little bit ago. You don't want to be wrong. And if I'm ever wrong, then I will take all the criticism. If I get something wrong, if I say, this guy had a terrible game and he had three sacks and it was great. Like I will totally take credit for getting something wrong. The thing I try never to do is get a fact wrong. But if a joke crosses a line or if it hits a soft spot for a team, then they'll come for me too. And then at that point, I'm like, I'm sorry, like
Do they?
it's right. It's true though. And usually they'll say that. They'll say that was, like, I can't believe you're targeting us or lay off the Chiefs or whatever, but it was true. So, they can't really
So
argue.
PR people or head coaches, players,
Oh, that's a good question.
like
Players
who
have been so great. Every
that's
time
cool.
I've met any player, like I did a thing with Justin Fields when he was in Chicago, and
He's
I
an
said,
easy target.
oh yeah, and I hate the Bears, like fully hate the
Oh,
Bears.
you too.
Full credit for that. And I said it was him and Jamar Chase, and I sat in between the two of them. We were supposed to play Madden together for this Madden gaming lounge, and I sat next to him, and I told Jamar, I was like, "Hey, I'm Annie Agar. I do content." And Justin just looks at me and he goes, "Yeah, I know who you are." I was like, "Oh, great!" But he was so cool about it. They were the nicest guys. So the players handle it really well because I think they all know. Like I respect the hell out of them. I'll make jokes about them, but I could never do what they do, and they're getting paid millions of dollars to do it. So coaches, I've never had a bad run in with a coach. I met Sean Payton recently at NFL Honors, and he was great. Like he
Yeah.
said, my daughter sends me your stuff all the time. So you'd hope that they just know it's all in jest, and I don't actually hate them or want them to get have their career upended. But if
Yeah.
you're doing bad, I'm gonna call for your job. I mean, you hear about the horror stories of certain guys in the league, but everybody I've ran into has been super.
The worst one's maybe not in the league anymore.
Yeah,
You
right,
think
exactly.
he's hanging out in North Carolina?
We'll say Eli. Yeah, exactly. Eli
I
Apple.
would like ask him a question and he would just stare at me.
Oh, I could totally see that. I
Be
could
like,
totally see that. But that's what he talked to his girlfriend now, that
So, okay, there you go. Like, do you have to censor yourself? Do you like how often do you go, oh, this is way too much?
I try to keep it because I know there are parents that show their kids the videos. So I try to keep it swearing wise, I'll keep it kind of clean. But there will be some jokes that I walk a fine line with because that's what makes humor comical. That's what makes comedy funny is this like, oh gosh, did she just say that, type of thing. So I try to walk that line and keep the content clean. Obviously my parents watch it, my family watches it, so I'm not going to get too raunchy or anything like that. But there are like jokes that I'll pull back, whether they're if I think it's like I would never defame a player or anything like that. But if I think it's just unnecessary, then there's no reason to take a shot at somebody when everybody's like the Mark Andrews drop. Like I made a joke about it, but then I made one joke and left it alone because I was like, that poor man is probably going through hell right now.
Yeah.
Like we don't need to drill into him. So I'll walk a fine line in that sense, but there will still be a couple jokes for sure that you're like, oh wow, that was clutching my pearls a little bit,
Oh, girl, I watch sometimes and I'm like, oh my God. Like that's the reaction. It's like, oh, like when you're at a comedy, you're like, how?
I
That's
love
really
it.
funny.
Oh, good. Thank
And I
you.
used to love it when I would get off the field, and I would watch your video just to see if my game made it in.
Oh
And
yeah, that's so cool. That
I
is so
loved that.
cool.
I
I
love
love
that. I know you've walked through it before, but for some of the listeners who don't, I think that's one of the coolest things about you is that you can 1000% tell that you do your homework. That
Oh,
you're not mailing this in. This isn't just something that you set up a camera and go. Like you know that you're working hard. So walk me through. You just mentioned like you got to watch a lot of games. You got to watch a lot of this. Like walk me through your process during the week to kind of get ready for this video.
yeah. So I watch Red Zone because obviously that's when you can get all the highlights pretty quickly, and I'll take notes during the games, just to remember what happened because it all of a sudden it's 10 o'clock at night, and I'm like, oh, Sunday Night Football's over.
Yeah.
The day just flew by, and then Monday morning I'll wake up and I'll start researching. I kind of have an idea of the jokes or the setup I'm gonna do because there's certain games you can tie together. Obviously, certain things will happen or plays will happen or a player that like this year, there's so many different trades that happen and guys on different teams that there's going to be a great kind of connection between the teams, me as they're talking to each other. So I'll kind of write up an idea of a script that I want to do and then research more and make sure I didn't miss anything and remember like what the fans kind of reaction was to everything and kind of come up with jokes that way. So that's the longest process. That probably I start in the morning on Monday, go till like 2 or 3. And then I'll start filming, and filming itself takes probably 3 or 4 hours. I try to get it done by Monday Night Football and then watch Monday Night Football. And usually I'll end the video with whatever happened during Monday Night Football. So I pray
That's
for a
good.
really good game
Yeah.
and some sort of ending joke and then rewrite that, or I'll have jokes so I'll start editing too on Monday night. And then I'll watch the video and I'll be like, okay, that didn't really, because everybody thinks maybe I send it off for somebody else to edit it, but sometimes I don't even know the flow of the video until I'm mid editing. So it takes a good 6 hours,
Wow.
6 or 7 hours to edit the video. So I'll spend all Monday night editing. And then I'll go back in and reshoot things to kind of fit in if I didn't have the right inflection or if I thought a joke would be better. So it is a process. I probably should hone in on it a little bit more.
Yeah. No.
It's a full-time job for sure.
But that's what's so cool, Annie, is like, even though like everything's happening for you and you have all this stuff going on, it's like you're still staying authentic to yourself and you're still doing it. Like you could have someone editing it. You could have someone writing your stuff. You could just get up there now and do it. Like when I remember back in the day when I first started, I worked for the early show on CBS, and Bryant Gumbel was a guy that I worked with. And I remember he would come in, right? Bryant Gumbel, like huge, right?
Yeah.
He would come in and he would still go over every single one of his scripts. To that point, like, obviously he's got writers and stuff because it's happening overnight. He would still come in and look at every single one of his scripts. And to me, that was sort of the foundation for how I approached work. It's like, I'm going to put in the work. And that's what I think I respect so much about you is that you're staying authentic to who you are. And that is a hard worker.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I always said I wanted to do that because this is, I do it for the fans, and I want the fans to know it still comes from me. It's not a team of people writing it, or, eventually someday, maybe, depending on how much it grows, it'd be nice to have more people involved just to maybe have the turnaround faster. But I just want people to know it's genuine to me, like you said. So I appreciate that.
Of course. Do you have a favorite? Like, Like, what is your, like, did you do one that you're like, man, that was it?
I don't know if I can say this on your show. I did one of my favorite endings probably ever was it was after it came out that Skip Bayless he paid the female, the lady, or would have paid her the $1 million or whatever it was. That whole like scandal thing was coming out of that week, and it was the same week that Vikings fans had paid. It was something like they'd paid for seats for their fans to go watch Sam Darnold play. And I said, this was the first, I said, looks like Skip Bayless was the only one that paid millions to see some ass. It was a rough one. I mean, it was one of my favorite lines, but I put it out there, and it's so funny too, because I'll run my videos by my family. They're like my line of defense, my front line. And so I'll ask them first. My dad and brother thought it was hilarious. My mom's always the very like, let's be nice to everybody. Like, we're a very, very Christian family. Let's not take shots at people. So I sent it to my mom and she's like, oh, I don't know about this one. And my dad's in the background going, Becky, it's hilarious. Let her do it. It was so funny.
What was the response like online?
They
They probably like, oh.
it's one of those shocker ones where you're like, oof, like that kind of shocked people, I think.
I love it. I love it. I'm sure Skip did not get in touch with you after that. So
Probably not. His lawyers didn't either. So that's good.
no, that's good. Maybe after this, now that we're talking about it. I do want to get into your family. We're kind of like halfway through this. I don't want to keep you all day because I could, my love. I just think you're fabulous. We got to spend some time, just a short period of time at the Super Bowl. It was the first time that you and I had met. I sent the picture to your brother on social media, the picture that you and I took. And he said, it just means so much to me to know that there's somebody out there looking after her. And
really?
Yeah, I can send you the snapshot, but I thought that was
social media. I mean, we have this, cat and mouse game of Lions Packers fans, but he is the nicest brother. Like he's so caring and so sweet. As for an older brother too, he's just the sweetest.
Yeah, I think I got to watch, like I said, I went back and watched the E60. I went back and watched a bunch of videos about you guys. Just there's so many touching points, right? The touching points about here they are. Here's Dad and Johnny, Jeff and Johnny Agar. This I do want to talk to you about since we're doing this, right? So this is a 5K that your dad and your brother competed in. There you are, right there.
Yep.
And your brother walked the last mile.
Yes. Yeah.
So powerful.
It was incredible. So this was the whole E60 was on, and he, I think, what did you say? I think it was back in 2016. Yeah.
I think, it was something.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
but I remember this.
2015 maybe? Yeah.
Oh, maybe it was sooner. I vividly remember this because he had done, this was before even the Ironmans or the triathlons. This was just 5Ks that my dad started doing with my brother. And Johnny loved it so much that he, one day, and I vividly remember this, told my parents, he said, I'm going to get out and I'm going to walk the last mile of a race for Dad because Dad's brought me to the, he's brought me to the finish line so many times. I want to thank him for it. And at that time, Johnny had only taken 20 steps on his own, 21, I believe. So then my mom and dad look at each other like, how many steps are in a mile? That would be like us running a 5K and then saying we're going to run a marathon. It was almost inconceivable that he even thought to do that. But my parents drilled into us, and I swear that's why I am where I am today, because of Johnny's mentality and my parents' mentality. But they'd always say, okay, like if we'd say, I'd say I want to be on ESPN someday. They say, okay, what do you have to do to get there? Johnny would say, I'm going to walk a mile. Or when he was little, he wanted to go ice skating. My parents would say, okay, what do you have to do to get there? Like there was never okay, let's take our expectation down a little bit. It was just, we're going to treat everybody like they're capable of anything and see what kind of happens. So when he said that, they started training with him. And as you can see here, this was our local 5K in Rockford, Michigan. And he had never done a full mile. In his training, he had done about 3/4 of a mile. And it's a mental toll on him because cerebral palsy really affects it's a disconnect between your brain telling your muscles what to do. So every step he takes, he has to override his brain to tell his muscles what movement to do in order to take that step. So it's exhausting. And like the comparison I just said, it's like us running a marathon. He was absolutely exhausted. So E60 came out to do a story on it because we said there's a good chance he's going to finish. He's got that athlete mentality. He will cross that finish line. And this is him crossing. And in the interview, he said they obviously rushed up to with the camera to him. And he said, it feels like I'm officially an athlete. And we all just lost it because it was just it was incredible. It was the coolest thing I've ever experienced. And so now he'll do that at the end of Ironmans. He'll get out and he'll walk the last mile. And it is so cool. I can't even explain.
What did you learn about yourself in that mile? Take me back to that 5K.
Wow, that's a great question.
By watching him, like maybe not like what did you learn about yourself, but I told you when we started this, like the people around me on those events, they're the ones that inspire me. I'm lucky to get to see them and be around them, and all of the stuff that I do gives me that opportunity.
Right.
So watching your brother walk that mile, I'm gonna start crying here, honey. How did that affect you? What did you learn about yourself and your family and him?
Yeah, I think in that moment I saw how much he can impact other people. And you think every day how little decisions, like if you're nice to one person in the grocery store, that might impact their day to have them be nice to somebody else. Like the kindness effect is in full force. But when you see that many people, and you can kind of see at the finish line, they just gather around him because it's so inspirational and so motivating to see. And it shakes you a little bit to make you realize, okay, my problems aren't as big. I can get up in the morning and I can brush my own teeth and I can live on my own. All these things that he can't do. And so I think that was the first time I'd really seen the impact he could have. And now he does a motivational speaking and he's on social media. So he's impacting people that way as well. But the end of Ironman races, I've just never experienced it before, Shannon. Like, it is so incredible because it's midnight, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's exhausted. The crowd is crazy. They're watching people just barely make it to the finish line. And then you have a kid, and then you see a dad and a son in a wheelchair, and he stops and he gets out of the wheelchair to get in a walker and walk. And it is just the coolest thing to see, to experience, to know that that's my family, because I'm walking either in front of him or behind him. My job is video, so I get the video of the finish as I'm bawling, right? Trying to film this.
Yeah.
But yeah, just knowing the amount of people that he could impact in that moment, I was like, oh, he's going to do great things. And I knew he would reach out and connect with as many people as possible. And he has. It's been absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I've been at the finish line for like the last person that comes
Yeah.
through,
Oh,
just makes time. And it's like listen, there's so many different people in these triathlons. Like, you have your elite athletes that are just like, oh my God, it blows you away. But then you have these incredible stories that are just as mind-blowing
right.
and just as like incredible to watch. It's just like different sides of the emotional spectrum that you kind of experience. So to see these people who, like, you would go to the grocery store and you'd be like, no way are they gonna, and they are an athlete. Have you done a race with Johnny? Like, we got to get you out there, girl.
I did, actually. I started when we first started doing this. My dad started running because of me. I was a runner in high school, and then when I'd go out on training runs, my dad's like, oh, you can't run by yourself, a female can't be by herself. So he'd bike behind me, and then he got to the point where he said, this is just ridiculous, I'm gonna start running with you. So then he started running, and Johnny did his first triathlon with the My Team Triumph group. And my dad and I, being the athletes that we are, we were like, we could do this. Like, we should start training and just pull Johnny ourselves. So the first sprint distance triathlons and Olympic distance, I would do with them. And I would usually do the running part. My dad would pull my brother in those swim and bike and bike with him in the bike. And then I would do the run. And then when I went off to college, they started doing the Ironman training. And I was like, oh, we are far surpassing my level of experience here. So, but yeah, so I did a couple with him, but the shorter distances, and I would love to do an Ironman with him eventually.
Oh, yeah, you gotta be less busy to be able to do an
That's not
Ironman.
gonna happen with football season.
Yeah. I remember I asked Brent Peace, Brent and Kyle. Have you met them, by the way?
We have, yes.
Yeah.
Several races. They are the nicest people. Oh my gosh.
I remember telling him, like, and just hearing your story and knowing your parent, your dad and your brother as well, like how selfless it is for Brent to be able to get. I won't even take my animals sometimes with me running because it's too much to get up and take them with me, and you just want. I'm just gonna go. I got a long day, and to go through everything, getting Johnny into his wheelchair, into his bike chair, all of those things, and then even the physical aspect of doing it. But I asked Brent one time. I said, "Is it harder with Kyle or without Kyle?" And he told me it's harder without him.
Yeah.
Because he's part of it. He's pushing him. They're talking. They have this bond. And so I had my producer Kelly, she watched the video and she said, that dad is a saint. Like, and then just what you said about your dad, like you running and him coming out there with you. And I know he's athletically played baseball and sports is a big thing. But my God, what a great man to be your role model and to do things and to lead you and your family.
Yeah. He is such an inspiration to me, obviously, with the whole athlete side of it. But the things he does for my family and my mom is just incredible. Like, he is the epitome of what I'd want my future husband to be and what I'd want any kind of dad to be. Like, just for example, my car, and he'll drop anything for us. Like, especially his two daughters. I have a sister, and he'd do anything for us, obviously for Johnny too. But my brakes weren't working on my car the other week, and I was driving from Chicago, and I call him and I said, hey, my brakes are seizing up. I'm trying to get back home. I had a 3-hour drive ahead of me. He drove the 2.5 hours to meet me part of the way and drove my faulty car back. So if the brakes seized up, it would be him driving, and gave me his car to drive home for the rest of the week while my car got fixed without even hesitating. Like, I cannot say enough good things about him. He's the most self-sacrificing man but also super funny. Like all the people always ask where I get my comedic side from. It's from him. Like he'll tell you he loves you, and then a second later he'll be roasting you. So it's just the perfect balance of a man. So yeah, I just am so grateful for him.
Did you ever work like on comedy? Did you ever do any kind of stand up like before you started doing this?
I didn't. No. And I live right across from Second City or around that area. So in Chicago, that's obviously comedy's huge.
Yeah.
And no, I never did any stand up. I thought about it maybe. It would
You
all have to
should.
be sports related though. So I don't know.
You should. Absolutely. I think, just about your family, it's not shocking that you work in sports, because I feel like that's the common thread throughout your family. And so is Johnny sort of your audience of one?
Oh, 100%. He'll call me if any big trade. First of all, any trade that happened during like free agency or any big NFL news, I got a text from him maybe before Schefter's tweet broke. Like this man is on top of things, and we go back and forth. Like I don't remember the last time he's called me to talk about anything personal. We just talk about NFL news. So then occasionally we'll be like, "Hey, have you talked to mom and dad recently?" He's like, "Oh yeah, they're good." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like that's moving on. Yeah, he's the biggest sports fan and the most knowledgeable. I mean, you talk to him, I think what he lacks in some physical aspect, he makes up for in his mental capacity is insane. Like you could ask him who won the Super Bowl back in 19, whatever. He'd tell you who the MVP was, what the score was. Like his memory, which is very annoying, so especially in school, it was very annoying because we'd take tests together. We were homeschooled for a little bit of it, and we'd helped each other out. He was held back a grade. I was moved up a grade so that we could graduate together. And we'd take tests, and like history, he'd remember everything. And I'd be furious with him because I'm like, I was studying the same thing you were. How do you remember all this? But he's just such a brilliant kid. And yeah, we talk NFL nonstop, and he's on top of everything. So it's definitely my audience of one.
So I've got to ask you, and I'll ask you, but what's next for Johnny and what's next for Annie?
Great question. Johnny is doing, he very wants to be self-sufficient. This is his full-time job is motivational speaking, as I mentioned earlier. So he has about a speech or two a month that he's doing, whether it's in the area or if he's traveling, and it's like an hour-long speech. So he's kind of on that path of hopefully keeping up this motivational speaking for a while. The next race that they're thinking of, we don't know yet. We're kind of keeping that open. As you know, they did Hawaii this past.
Did Peyton Manning, is that the one Peyton Manning gave?
Yes,
Yeah, that's so good.
Peyton Manning was involved with. So, so the racing is still obviously going to happen. We just don't know when yet. And then in terms of me, I getting ready for this season. My full-time job is Chicago Sports Network, so I host our NFL show there. And then, like you mentioned earlier, my podcast, the offensive line that we're going to get going year 2. So, just kind of just doing more of the same thing, hopefully reaching out to more people with content. And that week 1 Packers Lions game is going to be pretty rough. So keeping out for content from both of us.
Will you be going to that game?
I don't know yet. I don't know if the content, because 2 years ago, we went to a game, miserable for me. Johnny loved it. Last year we had a camera on both of us, and I pieced it together what it was like for both of us to watch the game. So I'm trying to figure out what the fans want to see. Obviously we'd love to be at the game, but
that's got to be hard too, because then you lose that whole day of prep, right?
Right.
Then
exactly.
you got to then you got to make it up.
Yep.
Yeah. But it would be cool to see you there.
The Sunday games are so hard to go to because I'm trying to watch all of them. So we'll figure it out. But
I worked Jordan Love's first home game, his first start.
Do you love him? Is he so nice?
Yeah. And you know what? I've been to so many different arenas and stadiums and everything. When I walked out onto Lambeau, I literally cried. Like,
did you really?
Yes.
It's iconic. And that's not
and I grew up a Bears fan. I'm sorry, but Walter Payton, Super Bowl Shuffle, Jim McMahon, I can sing the whole dang Super Bowl Shuffle still to this day.
Yeah.
My dad grew up right outside Chicago. So the city of Chicago, I love it. I grew up at not a Packers fan, but whatever. Soldier Field's amazing. Felt the same way. You could feel the ghosts. You knew Walter Payton stood here.
Yes.
That's where the Monsters of the Midway were. That's where this was.
Way of explaining.
I'm like, I don't care what's up here, right? This is still Soldier Field.
Yeah.
When I walked through the tunnel and, that thing came up and I walked over those bricks and I walked out there, I was like,
oh,
that
is so
my God.
Cool. That is so cool.
I'm sure you had the same reaction the first time you walked out there.
Oh, yeah. Even for the draft, because they had the red carpet of the draft right on right on the or right off the field. But in the stands were empty, other than the fans that were there for the red carpet, and it still feels like the most amazing field you're stepping onto. Again, that's not biased. I don't think it's hard for me to say, but even when Johnny
No.
came and he experienced it, because we got him on the field for the Lions game, he said the same thing. He just kept looking up, saying, "This is just incredible." It's just the overall feel of it, and that's a great what you said. It's like the ghosts of the former
Yeah.
players. Like that's just is so cool to me.
Yeah. What else? Like, what other stadiums are that old? Like, you think about Lambeau, Soldier Field, obviously down, but
Yeah.
like everything else has changed with the
All this
times.
new age stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Even
mean, I just went to
Disney
Fenway recently,
Park is
same kind of
it's
thing, you know?
yeah, right, right. But the
And
history of it is just it was so cool.
yeah. When we in NASCAR, have you been to a NASCAR race?
We went to Daytona,
Okay.
but we were there for a race. I don't think we stayed for that. This was years ago. They have
Okay.
a race on the track that finishes on the track that Johnny and Dad did.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think I've
Oh, the Clash. The
yeah,
Clash.
yes, yeah, yep.
Yep.
But
That's
I don't
very
think
cool.
I've ever actually been to a race. That's terrible.
We
I've
need to
been to
get you
Indy
to a
500.
race. Yeah, I did see that. What did
Yeah.
you do there?
It was they had a bunch of like influencers out to kind of experience the race for the first time. And man, we didn't get out of there for 6 hours, Shannon.
Yeah.
That was
The traffic?
oh, it was crazy.
Yeah.
I've never seen so many people, and I've been to NFL game. I've been to a Super Bowl, been to a couple Super Bowls. I've never experienced that many people in my life. It was crazy.
We got to get you to a race because it's life-changing, right? I mean, I know
Oh,
watching racing on TV, they're long. If you don't understand it, it's difficult to watch
right.
sometimes because you don't know the strategy and all that stuff. But being at a race, and I mean,
Oh,
NASCAR, like we have a Super Bowl every single week. We have
yeah.
flyovers and we have everyone down pit road. It's pretty special. We need to get you to a race.
Oh,
What's
that's
the
a
cool?
great point.
Yeah, we do. What's the coolest thing you've been able to do since all of this craziness started for you?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think one of the I mean, bringing John to that game was so cool. And that happened because my followers had reached out, and one of them had a sister with a disability, and they had handicap seating. So they had offered up their tickets for that weekend because they weren't going to use them. So that alone was probably the cool experience. I've never seen Johnny so happy than when I brought him to that game. But in terms of my an experience that I had was I hosted NFL red carpet first on Super Bowl. When was that? 2 years ago. And I had talked to like Dak Prescott and Kurt Warner. It was like the most amazing experience. And they just kept bringing guys by me. And a couple of them knew me, like George Kittle came by and was like, "Oh, big fan of your videos." That's probably the coolest experience. Just it's very gratifying to know that all the hard work was paying off. So that was pretty cool.
Coolest person you've met?
Ooh, good question.
Like maybe most mind-blowing, right? Like one of those like little Annie would never believe this.
I might have to say Dak Prescott, as much as I
Really?
hate on the Cowboys, and not just because it was, I mean, it was shocking, right? And Jordan Love, meaning Jordan Love was great and shocking. And I haven't met Aaron Rodgers yet. That would probably be my number one, or Tom Brady. But meeting Dak, he was the nicest human being I've ever met. And and it was so it turned my world upside down because I made so much fun of him. And the Cowboys are like my number one on my list of jokes that I make.
No, Daniel Jones is number one on your list of
Oh,
jokes,
that's
girl.
true. That's very true, especially as of late. That's very true. But yeah, he was it was the end of the red carpet and he had to get going, and his PR person was like, "No, we're like no more interviews." And he stopped her and he was like, I can answer a couple questions, and then proceeded to give me like a whole life story for like 15 minutes. Just the nicest guy. So
Yeah.
and that was right before he won Walter Payton Man of the Year. So I was like, oh, that makes sense. I see that plays.
Really nice guy. I covered him at Mississippi State, and so
Yes,
I've been covering him for a long time. Jason Taylor was mine. I just happened to get to work the Dolphins game at home right after Jason was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and so he was there getting his ring. Listen, look, I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, right?
Oh my gosh.
I get to interview him on air, and I looked at him before we go on, and I said to him, I said, "Let me tell you something, Jason." I said, "I used to be here when I was in high school and college," and I pointed all the way to the top of the stadium, and I said, "I sat all the way up there with my girlfriends watching you and Zach on the field." And by the way, Zach is my favorite player. I have one jersey, Miami Dolphin jersey. It's number 54. I have it in orange. I have it in green. I have it in white. Love him.
Oh, I love that.
So I said to Jason, I said, I watched you and Zach. I lived in the same apartment complex as them. We used to drive by every day and see if Jason's car was there because he was so cute. And so like, we were, college kids. And I said, this is not lost on me that I am here now getting this opportunity after, so many years. So that was my coolest thing.
Oh, that would
coolest.
be so cool. I think that's how I'd feel if I ever met Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, 1000%. You would,
Grew up
and
with him.
especially if you got to interview them on the field at Lambeau,
Yeah.
or a place where it
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
brings it full circle.
Yeah. I will say Charles Woodson was really cool. He's probably my favorite Packer of all time. He was
I
great
love
to
that.
me. The whole Michigan fandom aside, but
Yeah,
Michigan.
there are a lot of people you don't want to meet your heroes, right?
Right.
Like I feel
Right.
like that happens a lot, but I also feel like and I'm glad that we can talk about this and give the guys
Oh, yeah.
credit who do deserve it,
Absolutely.
because there are a lot of them that are freaking awesome.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I will always talk about it because I think everybody needs to know that they're just the best guys.
It's awesome. Superlatives. I feel like I asked you, let's do some superlatives because
Okay.
you're so incredibly funny.
Oh,
And we got to end on a high note. Okay. So speaking of Aaron Rodgers, let's get a superlative on Aaron Rodgers.
enigma. Enigmatic. I don't even know if that's a word.
He
That's
is.
the word of his documentary. That's what he is.
I think he's really interesting. And I'm okay with all of the stuff that he kind of comes. I'm like,
It's something else.
I don't know, just give me more. Like he's just I mean, he doesn't care what people think about him. Or maybe he does. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it.
I think he does, but he plays it off that he doesn't. That's why I don't like him.
Yeah.
Great guy. I heard great things, just not a fan.
All right, Scottie Scheffler. I added that one because of course he just
Ooh.
won this weekend.
Legendary.
Ah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Kind of a simple one, but
Except don't tell him that because it doesn't mean
right,
yeah,
exactly.
he doesn't care.
You see the Nike ad too?
No.
Oh, it was so good. It said something like you've already won one, and it was him and his kid, and it said, but it doesn't hurt to win another, and then it went to his open win. Oh, so good.
It's great.
Yeah.
God, that course
Just
this weekend was beautiful. And you met Kyle Busch, right? So let's do
Yes,
Kyle
I
Busch.
did. Oh, this is a tough one. Problematic. How about?
Love it. Love it.
Because he was very nice. He met my brother too, very nice. But yeah, I've heard some things in the racing community. He causes a few problems here and there.
Yeah, I've known Kyle for, gosh, he was 18 when he started racing. And so that's when I first started interviewing him because I've been covering racing for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And I would say he's definitely grown up.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was worse.
Yep. Yeah. He
There was
has
worse.
like a little montage on TikTok of some of his best lines, and he had some good ones. Like he had an ego to go with the attitude, but
backed it up.
yeah,
Backed it up.
exactly.
He had every right. Annie, I adore you. I adore your family. I appreciate you making me laugh, and I appreciate your family for making me feel. And I just thought of that. So I don't know where that came from, but it's
That was
true.
beautiful.
Thank you. And if you ever get into NASCAR writing,
Yeah, there you go.
I can send you some stuff. I'm happy to be a ghost rider.
People ask me every so often. They're like, "You got to do one for NASCAR. You got to do one for golf." Might have to
Just don't tell them I did it. Kelly,
there you
you want to pop on? Did I miss anything?
I do have a question about, and you can, if you don't want to pull the curtain back, then just say you're not going to answer. But how do you actually record it? Do you record like all the Michigan and then all the how do you do that?
That's a great question. No, because I've done it sometimes. I've tried both ways, but I'm responding to myself, and I want it to be such a genuine reaction. So I'm in there changing shirts just about as many times as you see me change. Yeah, it's an arm workout, that is for sure.
I love that.
It's more of a genuine reaction. So
you're brilliant, and I think it takes a lot of courage to do that, especially as a woman, to try to be funny and
thank you so much.
and I just loved it. So I was just curious how you cut it, and that's interesting to know. Now I'm going to picture you changing shirts and talking to
Yes,
yourself.
hopefully, yeah. Adds another level to it, when that's happening.
You could see sometimes too, like your hair's a little messed up, like you're like you could tell like
I know. I try to keep it the same every shot, but there's no way.
Who cares?
And the hardest thing is to remember which way I was looking, because if like the Saints are over here and I'm the NFL talking to the Saints and I'm looking over here, it doesn't work. So I've had to go back and reshoot a whole. Oh yeah, it's been a lot, but thank you. I appreciate that, Kelly.
Yeah, you're awesome. You're killing it, and keep it up. Yeah, let's get a drink sometime. I didn't know you were living in Chicago. Next time I'm there, we'll definitely get together.
Yeah, absolutely. Come before the winter, hopefully.
Yeah, you can always come down to Charlotte and hang with us during
would gladly do that.
the winter time. Honey, thank you. Tell the family I said hello, and I really appreciate the time. I know you don't do a whole lot of these, and I know you're so super busy. So please be well, and bye.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. Love you too. Thank you.
Bye. I have so many different layers to Annie, and I'm so grateful that she took some time to do it. I know she's super busy. What'd you think?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I find her so entertaining anyway.
She's so funny.
It's so shocking that she doesn't really have a comedy background.
Yeah.
She is such a great delivery.
Yeah.
And I know fans look so forward to her post game,
Oh,
whatever I don't even know what the coaches meetings or whatever. They're unbelievable.
I just think it's so incredible that she was, working local news, doing whatever, and she came up with this idea, executed it, and put it out there. It was so witty, so brilliant, such a great way. I tell kids all the time, right? There are 3 things to making it, right? Number 1, work hard. Number 2, don't be an asshole. I think that's important. And number 3, find a way to separate yourself from everybody else. And that is what she did. She does it all, right? She works hard. She's obviously so super likable, and she found a way to separate herself from the rest in a world of like so many people trying to find what that thing is. And I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, and she definitely is a fan of sports.
Yes.
But a fan of the NFL.
Yes.
And she says the things that the fans are thinking. And
Yeah.
I just think that she's found the greatest way to do it.
Love it. All right. I think that's it. I'm headed to Nashville. So we're taping this on Tuesday. I'm going to Nashville today, actually going to see Coldplay. We may or may not have to get into that. Yeah. It's if we get put on the kiss cam, then we have something planned to do, my boyfriend Lee and I. But we're gonna go see Coldplay. It's my birthday on Wednesday, so we're gonna go see Coldplay and enjoy it. I've never seen. Have you seen them before?
I have not.
No, I've never have. And it's one of Lee's favorite groups. He's seen them 5 times. And so when we started dating, we listened to a ton of Coldplay. And I was like, I cannot wait to go see a concert with you. They were not on tour for so long. And then I was like, we have to go. So we're meeting some friends in Nashville and we're going to go and watch Coldplay, which I'm super excited about because they are one of my favorite bands and we love going to concerts together. So celebrate my birthday and then head to Indianapolis on Thursday, which will be cool. Last race.
Super cool.
Crazy. Last
My
race.
favorite track. So
It is?
have fun. Yeah.
What, just because of going to the Indy 500?
Well, yeah, and I just feel like how you talked about Soldier Field and it having like ghosts. Like that's what I feel about Indy. I feel like the ghosts, the history.
Yeah.
It feels like it's. I don't want to say haunted because it's not in a bad way.
Yeah.
But like I walked around there at night a couple times, and it like literally felt alive. Like it was it has a strange aura about it.
Did you get to walk around with the driver? Like which driver?
Oh, well, I was just there for work. We used to work overnights. And
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
I mean, that's a normal TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be like there at like 3 a.m. and it would be dead quiet, little bit of lights, and I feel like you could feel the ghosts of every driver that has ever been there.
Yeah, it'll be cool because a lot of the TNT folks have never been there before. And so they're going to be going there for the very first time. I'm like, wear your flats, wear your comfortable shoes. I've been thinking about you a lot, Kelly, over the last couple weekends, and I will tell you why. Bear with me. So Kelly used to, I had those 3 words of advice for people, right? For young people getting into the sport, I said, work hard, be likable, and find a way to separate yourself from the rest. Kelly's piece of advice is be okay using the Porta-John. Is it not? It is.
I literally asked that if I ever do a talk for college. I'll be like, how many of you would be okay with that? Because if you're not, you should not go into sports television.
So I've had to use a Porta-John a lot over the last 4 weeks again. And this past week was super special at Dover because it was about 150 degrees. And man, those babies, they're special. I call Porta-Johns the great equalizer. You want to know why? Doesn't matter how much money you have. Doesn't matter how awesome your day is. Doesn't matter what you do for a living. You walk out of that baby feeling the exact same. I mean, Elon Musk could walk into a Porta-John and I could walk into a Porta-John and we will both walk out feeling the exact same way. It's, breathing through your mouth, not looking down, trying not to get your, drop your phone, all that stuff. So there's my Porta-John story. Next week, I'm really excited about this. So I have the book, if you guys can see it. So this is my friend. Let's see if we can get this in here. This is my friend Roderick Sewell. So it's a big triathlon, back-to-back kind of thing. This is my friend Roderick Sewell. He is the very first double below the knee amputee to compete and finish Kona, the Ironman event out there at Kona. And so he's written a book. I mentioned being an Ironman ambassador, and that's how I met the pieces, Brent and Kyle. I also met Roderick at one of these events. He is a Paralympic. He's been to the Paralympics and has competed in that. He has blades. You can see his blades. His mother had to make a decision when he was very, very young to have his legs removed. And if she had not made that decision, he would be in a wheelchair right now and not living this life that he's living. He's incredible. There's my son calling me, so I will do this. He's incredible. His story is amazing. And I'm so excited and so proud of him for writing this book. And he's going to join us next week to talk about it. It's coming out. I think that's why we're doing it right now, because the book is getting released in like 2 weeks. And so, yeah, he's going to be on the show. He's a badass. I can't wait to talk to him. So that's next week on the Spake Up podcast. Thank you to Annie Agar. If you don't follow her already, definitely do. She's hilarious. Send her a message. Let her know how this went. Make sure you give us a follow. This little podcast is moving on. I have so many people come up to me on the weekends and tell me that they're listening to it. And that is literally what is keeping me going, folks. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys listening. We're having fun doing it. I'm having these awesome conversations with people that I really have a connection with and really admire and adore. So yeah. All right. That's it. Roderick next week. Thank you to Annie. Follow her on all her social channels and make sure you subscribe and listen to Spake Up podcast. Happy early birthday to me. I'll enjoy Coldplay, send some pictures and we'll be back next week. See you in Indy.